Namaskar. Welcome to episode 2 of the Cambodia series, and I'm standing in front of the big waterfalls, and it's a picturesque place. I can't stop gushing about it. There are so many things that I want to share with you. This is going to be a series of 5 or 6 or perhaps even 7 episodes where I'm taking each particular temple in Cambodia, and I'm going to be talking about it. As always, my good friend Mr. Ram of Ram Travels is going to be giving you expanded explanations on some of these artifacts. So let's jump right in now. Please like this video as I'm going to go through a quick history recap of the temple that was supposed to have been constructed for Brahma, Ta Prohm. Here we go. Ta Prohm temple. Where is it? This is one of the most mind-blowing sites in Angkor Archaeological Park. It is very close to Angkor Wat and also, needless to say, very close to Siam Reap. Within 10 kilometers, I would say. The temple is intentionally maintained in a way it is, in that there are trees and there are structures and they are intertwined. We're going to talk about what kind of a tree this is, what is its specialty, and so on and so forth in the slides that are going to follow. Now, what it shows is the intermingling of century-old trees and ancient stone structures, and it appears that both have found a way to coexist. Here is a picture of one such tree, and I'm going to give you some panoramic views also of this. So get ready for a visual feast. This temple reflects the grandeur of Khmer architecture and history. Massive roots, massive meaning like 6 feet wide roots of jungle trees have grown over and through some of these structures. But when they were recovering these structures, they decided that they will leave them the way they are and just let us see the grandeur of the commingling of forest with history. And this is located, as I said, in Cambodia, in the Angkor region, just north of Siem Reap and a very short distance from the main temple of Angkor Wat. By the way, there is another Angkor, Angkor Thom. I'm going to do a separate episode on that. Like I said, guys, this is going to be a visual feast for many of you, and you will start seeing some things that perhaps you may have gone there and missed, because many more things are getting excavated and more things are being brought to light now. This is part of a UNESCO World Heritage. In fact, some of the locales that you will see are actually shot in movies, especially in Tomb Raider, a 2001 movie featuring Angelina Jolie. I was one of the trendsetters there. So where exactly is it in Cambodia? You can see there, it's on the northwestern corner, Siam Reap, and then right outside of that is this temple of Ta Prohm. What is the significance of this temple? It was initially known as Raja Vihara, or the Royal Monastery. The temple was both a monastery and a university dedicated to the king's mother. The statue of the king's mother, I'll explain to you what happened, but I'll actually show you the place, that is like the sanctum sanctorum of where the mother statue was, in just a few slides. It is one of the few temples preserved in the same condition as it was discovered, still partially engulfed by the jungle. Now, the temple's compound spans 650 meters east to west and 1,000 meters north to south. Yes, there is a fair amount of walking to do once you get near the complex. The central sanctuary area is about 150 meters by 150 meters, like a square. The labyrinthine design, enhanced by the overgrown foliage, will give you an example of a mysterious and an expansive feel. The sprawling layout makes it look bigger than what it is. And now, who constructed it? Who else? Jayavarman VII. Viewers, 3 names will keep standing out as far as anything in temples of Cambodia is concerned. One is Jayavarman II, then Jayavarman VII, and also Kirtivarman II. And that one is the person who, he's the one who built the Angkor Wat temple. That's a whole episode on its own. I'm going to come to that in just a few days, so stay tuned on that one. So here, what he has done is he embarked on a massive construction program across the empire. He also built Angkor Thom, by the way, Jayavarman VII. He also built a lot of hospitals and also residential areas, what I would call as dharmastalas in India. And he is very famous for that. In fact, today there is a hospital named after him, Jayavarman VII Hospital for Children. He is credited, like I said, with the building of the temple of Angkor Thom, the state temple of Bayon. Bayon is an episode in itself. Beautiful, beautiful imagery. You're going to, be bowled over by some of the pictures that we have got for you. So that is an episode on its own. So we still have Angkor Wat, Angkor Thom, and Bayon, and one more that also is going to blow your mind, because there are 1,000 Shivlingas as well as a reclining Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva all together carved on one stone. All that stuff in another episode. You got now the idea of how many episodes I have planned for you guys. This is going to be fairly quick. It's not going to take a lot of your time, and just wanted to keep you abreast on what is going on. King Jayavarman was recognized one of the most powerful Khmer rulers because he defeated all the other kingdoms around him. Siam, Thailand, and Vietnam. Those days it used to be called Champanagari. All those things he conquered, and it was probably at the Khmer Empire was probably at the peak when he was in power. But he's also credited with fostering a nice balance between Buddhism and Hinduism. It is believed that he was a Mahayana Buddhist follower, and he also made sure that equal respect was given to the Hindu kings and gods and goddesses also. So this is a very interesting, intricate balance that Jayavarman the Seventh achieved, and this is shown, in fact, in the Ta Prohm architecture itself. Now, it was initially built, that is Ta Prohm, in the late 20th to early 13th century. It is over 830 years old, if you do the math, and additional structures were added over subsequent centuries, making some parts of the temple younger than the others. By the way, the whole thing stopped around 15th century, when we will talk about what happened at that point of time in just a few minutes. Now, Ta Prohm was abandoned after the fall of the Khmer Empire in the 15th century. The empire's decline began in the 14th century, accelerated by invasions from the Siamese. What was the reason? There were internal strifes as well as external strifes. The rise of Theravada Buddhism, which is actually a simplifier form of Buddhism, made it that people didn't want to go to temples to pray for Buddha. They wanted to do it at their own home. In fact, today in Cambodia, I am told that there are no Buddhist temples nor Hindu temples where actual worship happens. Everybody worships at home, in your own home corner. So this is a slight shift in the way the Buddhism is followed. Though the country calls itself Buddhist, an equal number of people believe in Hinduism also. In fact, one interesting thing I found out when I toured the museum there was that it calls Hinduism as Brahminism. In many slides, I noticed that Hinduism also is called as Brahminism. Well, so you know now why others always take aim at Brahminism, because it is essentially synonymous with Hinduism. So alterations in the environment, by the way, I'll show you pictures to prove that. That may be another episode of its own, because that's just a national museum in Siem Reap. There's a beautiful, beautiful museum again. So whatever happened here, why people moved away from here, it is believed that the irrigation infrastructure changed, and therefore the water stopped coming here and people had to abandon this to go elsewhere. Now, who discovered this? Ta Prohm, along with the rest of the temples in the Angkor region, was never really lost to the local Khmer people who have lived in the area and continued to live. But when French explorer Henri Moreau visited, he documented them in the mid-19th century. For a period of time, Cambodia also was ruled by France. The temples were not discovered, but rather shared with the wider world because of Moreau's efforts. The connection was always there between the people and the Khmer temple, and the temple itself is built using sandstone, like Angkor Wat, like many other temples. So interesting mix here. The sandstone is available in the Kulen Mountains, the first episode that I showed you. In fact, the waterfall is the Kulen Mountain waterfall, and the waterfall behind me. And you understood that from where the sandstone was brought in, it's about 50 kilometers from this place. So the intricate bas reliefs and Devata guarding spirit carvings were directly carved onto the sandstone walls, showcasing its adaptability and aesthetic appeal. Sandstone blocks of 1.5 tons quarried from about 50 kilometers, like I told you, Kulen Mountains, and they were transported using an extensive network of canals. I mean, even today, when you drive by Cambodia, there's a lot of water bodies around. It is just that I didn't see anything flowing in a seamless way. Even in the moat in Angkor Wat, there is a water body, but it is believed that it is not something that is moving water. It is stagnant water. You don't want stagnant water because then it collects weeds, it becomes dirty, it it starts emanating smell. You get the idea. So stucco was often applied to walls before carving to enable finer details. Now, what is a corbel? A corbel is a support structure that supports a T junction kind of thing. You can see there on the picture. Now, how was this temple built? It completely relied on manual labor and used innovative methods. I'm sure a lot of elephants were used, and this is how they could move big blocks. In fact, some blocks are still around because the restoration process is still in progress. In fact, the Indian government is actively involved in restoring some sections of Ta Prohm. So there's still work going on even as we speak. The giant trees that intertwine with the ancient stone structures is the one that we are going to be looking at in great detail. The sponge tree, also called as silk cotton tree or Tetramiles nudiflora, locally known as the tipok tree, is the most notable species. What does this tree do? Well, let's take a quick look from our friend Mr. Ram on what he thinks the usefulness of this tree is. Here we go.
T-U-N-G. And if you talk about the quality of the tree that we're going to see, this is one of the crab. Crab, which has been like
That means
horrible tree
SHI.
ever in my country. For whole part of the country of Cambodia, we never ever take this tree to building a house or furniture because of the wood of it is so soft, very light and full of with the water. Not just in the furniture or the houses, even you fire, we don't need, we never use it for fire because it's so smoky. But if you talk about the beauty, amazing for pictures. When you be there, you love taking pictures with this tree.
Hard to see where the
Yeah.
tree starts and where the building ends, and the whole building has been preserved around the tree here.
I
This is the
haven't
shot
taken it, but they're
from
going to share. Okay.
Tomb Raider.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, I can do for you.
So you got an idea of what the sponge tree looks like. Now let's take a quick look at what is the significance, religious significance of Ta Prohm. So the religious significance of Ta Prohm is that King Jayavarman VII, he built this temple for his mother, whom he regarded as an incarnation of Prajna Paramita, or the embodiment of wisdom in Mahayana Buddhism. So I'm going to show you a video now with Mr. Ram on where the statue stood and where the statue lies now. Here we go.
So this is the centers of this temple, and I think you all remember the fathers of the temple this morning, right? A lot of holes around there. That is exactly they put all of the precious stone. Same thing back in that time. They're not really the size of the precious stone is not really that size. They use this one as a stand. They apply some with all of the stucco, all mortar, and they decoration with all jewelry like the precious stone on the top of that. And for the pedestal, this is exactly the pedestal of the mothers of the king. So this statue now, she is in Phnom Penh. She is in our capital in the National Museum, and the name of the statue called Pranya Paramita. Pranya Paramita, it means the female of divinity in that time. So I heard some of you talk about the Christmas, right? We're gonna coming up with a Christmas, right? And you can see that way. Why that we had why that we have all of this one, it look like Christmas like that. This is the way of sharing weight. Sharing weight. The like
Distribution of weight.
engineering system in order to sharing weight, the weight not gonna pushing through directly to the frame door. It will be sharing to the corner.
Okay, so this is the syncretic nature of the Khmer Empire, where the blend of Buddhism and Hinduism is very easily, clearly found here and among many other places. What is the exact translation of the word Ta Prohm? Ta means ancestor, and Prohm is the Khmer adaptation of Brahma, the Hindu god of creation. Ta Prohm translates to ancestors Brahma in English. In the Thai version of the Ramayana, Brahma is referred to as Fra From. Scenes from the Ramayana are featured in the bas reliefs of many temples in Angkor Wat. I've got some splendid scenes, and I'm going to show that to you also. Even as I'm explaining these things, I'm realizing that perhaps I may have to have not 6 but maybe 8 episodes, because there were some temples that were built in the 6th century and 7th century. Those also need to be explained in some detail. So I'm thinking about it. If you guys say yes, I will definitely do justice to that also. Sitting at your home, I intend to whet your appetite so you all can book your flight to Siam Reap and enjoy the beauty that I did. Here we go. Now, Ta Prohm is also known as the jungle temple due to its dramatic integration within the surrounding jungle. The Tomb Raider temple is the name it got after. Some scenes were shot in 2001 for that movie with Angelina Jolie. And it's also renowned for the Bayon style of architecture. Like I said, that is a separate episode on its own that I'm going to show you. Again, that Bayon also, or Bayon, was also built by Jayavarman VII. Beautiful, beautiful place. Now, interesting thing there that people say, maybe Ta Prohm is not 11th century, but it goes much, much before that, because of this one sculpting or one carving on one of the walls. And that looks like an image of the Stegosaurus. And the Stegosaurus, it lived in dinosauric ages. So people are wondering, how did the sculptors of Ta Prohm know about the Stegosaurus? So some suggest that it was inspired by paleontological finds, or they may have found some skeletons accidentally, and from that they may have figured it out. Or they think it could also be something like a rhinoceros, but a super rhinoceros, or a chameleon, which also could have scales on it. So essentially the shape looks similar to a rhinoceros or a chameleon. Maybe that's what it was, but certainly the creativity of the sculptor comes through. So here is the Stegosaurus in a much bigger detail, and you can see that the dinosaur seems to be clearly brought out, because look at the snout. The snout doesn't look like that of a rhinoceros or of a chameleon. Chameleon is more shorter, it is like a reptile. Here this looks more like a bull, so it could be a Stegosaurus. So whatever it is, this will be always a mystery. We would never know what happened. So let's wrap up now. So wonderful place, the Prohm temple. It will take you about 2 to 3 hours to look at it, and a lot of walking as always. And this is one of those things that I will remember and cherish for a long time. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.